Alright, we're going to do secondary fermentation for kefir water. And these are some of the supplies you're going to need. You're going to need some kind of strainer, a larger container or bucket, or in this case a pitcher, where I'm going to pour the liquid off of the grains and into here, and then we're going to put those into these bottles here, which actually we'll then drink from or pour from to consume the beverage. And we're also going to need some type of fruit. Today I'll be using grapefruit. You can use peaches, pears, really any kind of fruit, citrus. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get into this solution here that's been sitting for 24 hours. This can actually sit 24 or 48 hours, probably maximum. I wouldn't go too much after that, too much further than that. And basically the whole point is to get this liquid off of the grains and into the pitcher and leave the grains down in the bottom here. So that's what we're going to do. Now usually you're going to have some raisins or some figs that you're going to have to get out of here too. But once your grains are established, you really only need to use raisins or figs maybe every other time. But that's once they're established. So you see I've got quite a few in here, and there's also quite a few still down in the bottom there. I'm going to return these to the container. And you actually see this is carbonated. So even at room temperature, those little grains have actually carbonated this by eating all the sugars and some of the citrus that were in here, and also the sugar water. So they convert the sugar water to amino acids, nutrients, and also all the probiotics that you're going to consume, but then it also carbonates it at the same time. So this is actually carbonated, but we're going to do some further carbonation by putting this into the bottles now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pour the liquid into our bottles, and we're going to leave a little room for fruit. So leave a little room for fruit at the top. You can also put your fruit in first and then pour this in. And for me, I do 2 quarts of liquid, so that equals exactly 4 of these containers here. Okay, so I'm just making sure those are all even across. Alright, there you go. Okay, so now I got these bottles. I'm going to now cut my fruit. So, down through here. And there's no way I'm using all this fruit. Keep slicing. And then I'm actually going to take it off the rind. If you put rinds in your bottles, it's going to make it bitter. Now it's okay for primary fermentation, which is in this thing when you do your first step in the other video, but you don't want rinds in your secondary fermentation in your bottles that you're going to be drinking from. Okay, so this is about all I'm going to probably put in one of those bottles. You put in too much and it's really going to go to town, and you risk bursting your bottle. And I'll go over this here in a little bit, but basically you want to keep an eye on your bottles. If you see the lids swelling, and I like to use these from Costco, not only because they have good kombucha, but you can reuse the bottles for this purpose. And the caps are plastic, so you can actually see them bulging a little bit. So keep an eye on those, because you really don't want those to burst. Yes, we did break a bottle the other day, and it shot all over the kitchen. Could have hurt somebody, so be careful. So here's our caps. So once you get your food in here, you're gonna go ahead and cap it, right? I think that's plenty. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap on, screw it down. You want it tight, and that's basically it. So you just want to repeat that for your other bottles that you might have. And again, you know, maybe leave it out maybe a maximum of 24 hours. Some only 12 hours. It really depends on how much sugar you're putting in here, and that's what it's all based on, is sugar. So if you use sweeter fruit, like peaches, let's say, you may want to keep an eye on your quantities and not use quite as many. And again, just kind of keep an eye on this lid right here. If you see that lid really poking up and you can't press that down, there's no give, chances are it's time to go in the fridge. As soon as you put it in the fridge and it cools down, it'll be okay. So that's basically it.